What's up, people? So we're back with another video. Hope you all been staying safe and staying free and having a good week, enjoying that content. Now this one that I'm bringing to you all today is all about being locked up with lifers, aka killers. So let's get into it. So when I was locked up in my category A prison, HMP Perth, was the first time when I met a lifer. Now I have dropped a video on this which is called First Time I Met a Lifer inside a prison. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. It's at a couple thousand views. Now man like M was the first lifer that I met. Now this goes to show you that depending what prison you end up going to in the UK, you are 90% probably going to be locked up with lifers if you're in a category A prison. As yes, lifers have, you know, their own landing where they're supposed to be with just the lifers, but if you're in a category A prison or end up in one just like myself, then you have to expect to be on the wing with killers. And when these men were telling me, yeah, we're locked up with a lifer, I'm telling them, nah man, that's not it, that could never be it. You're telling me you're in for 5 years, I'm in for this, you're in for a couple of weeks, you're on in for a recall, and we got a man in here for life. Now until I ran into M and, you know, got the story, which the details are in that video if you want to go and check it out. Man like M was serving 26 years for taking someone's life, which was a very valid reason to why he done it, which I agree with, and I'm sure a lot of you would too. But, you know, until I spoke to M and he confirmed it was when I came out of his cell and I was scratching my head like, how the fuck is this? And I think the screw overheard me because I said, you're telling me, like, you know, speaking to myself, I'm like, we're locked up with a lifer that's doing 26 years. And I remember thinking to myself, saying it in my head, let man like M have a bad day and come out here and switch a man's lights off, or one of these young ones with attitude to say something he doesn't like, and it's a wrap, you know, for certain people. Now when I said how the fuck are we locked up with a lifer, not meaning it in a bad way towards M obviously, but I was saying it in a way like, you know, in shock, like how the fuck is that? Because people are saying, yeah, the lifers are normally upstairs and they have their own landing to their cells, you know, to their cells and their self, to where they have their own key for their own door. So more time when I was saying that as well, and the screws were saying he causes no trouble, which he didn't. M just was quiet, done his own thing, and he was happy to be where he was. Now, if M was on some bullshit, I'm sure they would have been quick to, you know, either ship him out of the prison or try and make space for him upstairs. And the screws did say that he was no problem. Now, man like M was a cleaner on the wing, and there was this one day to where he was losing his balance, and a few of the young ones that were standing around outside of my cell and my celly, you know, neighbor, he was, you know, like, oh, why is M moving fucked up? And I said to them, if you were serving 26 years for murder, you probably be moving fucked up too. And as they were like, yeah, true say, and I was thinking it to myself like, yo, if I caught 26 years or, you know, hefty time, maybe for a proportionate of time I might take drugs. As now this is the reason why lifers and people that serve long sentences will self-medicate. Now what I mean by self-medicate is that prisoners will take non-prescribed drugs and prescribed drugs that are given to them if they have mental health, and then street drugs too. Now the reason why lifers and people that serve a long time or even a short time, it depends what kind of person they are, you know, will do drugs as it dulls their senses, and then second, you know, it passes time so quick. Now I have seen a few men that were serving 5 years that took the drug for 2 years and then hopped off it because, you know, they realized you can't just do 5 years or 26 years and take drugs all your life inside of there and expect to come out of prison, you know, especially when you have the elements of prison itself, of the conditions that you got to live with. Now, the reason why it's so dangerous living with lifers is because lifers have nothing to lose, and their, you know, release date could be so far ahead that, like I said, a man don't really care to take in your light, you know, you're switching your lights off, so I should get my words out correct, and having no problem with that, because if they catch an extra 14 years on 26, it doesn't make a difference to them. And that's what I'm saying about with these killers inside a prison. And they are different all completely too. Now, with some of these killers as well, not some, the majority of them, because they've had a traumatizing event that caused them to go into prison and had traumatizing events outside of prison, you know, it's to why a lot of them will have some form of mental health too. And that's True Life Talks. As a man that be locked up inside a prison like a caged animal for 22.5 hours in a day, you know, sometimes 23, depending what prison you're in, it really will give you mental health issues, especially if you didn't have none, or if you did, it's gonna bring it out. Now, with these lifers as well, when I was in my second prison, this is how different it was in my second prison, HMP Glen Oakle. It was a cat B, I think it was, or a C. Now, somehow we had this lifer on the wing, and he was on, you know, main population rec time with us, and it got to a point where everyone was so on edge with him being out with us, because a few man was, you know, doing couple months. It wasn't a cat A prison to be, you know, having lifers there, and there was a section for lifers upstairs. So I remember getting told, but for some reason he wasn't there, and it got to a point where the prison screws actually had to let him come out when we were in bang up time and reverse it. And when he was banged up, we were coming out for rec. So it really does depend what prison you're in. And a lot of these lifers as well, not all of them are mentally fucked or, you know, on drugs. And when a man gives you advice inside a prison, a lifer or not, but I'd say more to a lifer that's serving, you know, a quite a proportion of time inside a prison, as they know the ropes, they know the ins and outs, the do's and the don'ts, and the way around things. And for a lot of these young ones, they don't take that on when they come into prison. For a man to take their time to tell you, yo, take it on board, because it will go for quite far for you inside a prison. Get my words out. It's been a long day. I apologize. Now, with my brother as well, going into the lifers again, he's serving 36 years for prison, and he doesn't come home until now 2057, something stupid like that, as he caught an extra year on top of the year 35 years that he's serving. So he doesn't come home now until 2057, 2056, and he has to serve the full sentence. Now, a lot of these lifers inside a prison too will have IPP, and I have dropped a video on that. I might have to remake it for those that have just joined the channel, and, you know, as the skills have gone up for doing YouTube. Now, what IPP is, I'll just leave it off on a last quick, you know, note, as it is to do with lifers and killers. IPP means that when, for those that caught it before 2011, I think it was the period of between 2009 and 2011. If you caught IPP, that means you had no release date. So if you killed someone, or if you caught, you know, above 5 years, and there's certain people that have 5 years, and it means that you do that time and you are just left in there to rot away like you're forgotten about. Now, if you do have any stories of your own being locked up with lifers, do drop a comment, let me know yours, and share it with the community. Hope you all have enjoyed this video. Do stay safe, people, and stay free.